You see, what was done in those cultures, based on what were the cultural dynamics. I mean, they were not being dominated by racism and white supremacy. Today, we're dominated by racism and white supremacy in this area of the world. Do you see? And black people, just with their skin alone, under the system of white supremacy, that becomes a negative mark in the system. And what if I go in and I've got tattoos all over me? That also becomes a negative mark. When it comes to hiring, it's just like the names that black people give themselves. It's like they'll look at an employment form and see a name and just toss it in the trash. What if black people were aware of that? See, for example, in Germany, German people cannot just hang any name on a child. Their name has to go according to how German people identify themselves. This is a name that can be respected. You can't just put any name tag on a child. That's something that we could think about. In parts of the world, black people didn't wear clothes. They didn't cover their bodies. Is this something that you would suggest black people do here? See, let me ask this. For example, what if black people were to say, I don't want to speak English? So in a part of the world where English is spoken and you need English to go to school, what do you think black people should do? See, there are people who come from all over the world and come to this part of the world. They want to matriculate in school. And so they say, well, okay, I come from China, I come from Japan, I'm going to have to speak English if I want to matriculate relative to what my ultimate goal objective is. So this is a language of currency, and so this is a language that I'm going to have to speak because of the goal objective that I want to reach. See, for example, let me ask you, let's say you have a brain tumor. Better still, let's say your child has a brain tumor. And so you go into an office where the doctor has a bone in his nose or her nose and feathers hanging all over them. What are you going to do? See, in other words, let's say if you want to carry out a particular function, or let's say, for example, I was looking at a program earlier on the Weather Channel of people who, are fishing. Their business is, deep sea diving, spear fishing. They have to bring in a certain amount of fish in order to make money to pay for their boat and pay the workers. And so they are doing deep sea diving. Do they have to dress according to do deep sea diving? Or can a person say, I don't want to put on that gear? See, it's just like if you want your children to be successful, you have to be determined to treat them in a particular way. If you want them to read, you're going to have to know how to help them read and do math. You see, now somebody, let's say you're determined that you want your children to succeed. Somebody might come along and say, it's okay to smoke marijuana around your children. because they want your children to be brain damaged. But they'll tell you this is okay because they don't want you to succeed. So it's like, well, how do I need to behave? How do I need to function in order to achieve my goal objective of being second to none of anybody on this planet? How do I have to think, speak, and act in order to be successful in my terms? Second to none. Not at the bottom of the barrel. Second to none. How do I need to behave if I want to become a mathematician? How do I need to behave if I want to become an engineer? How do I need to behave if I want to be determined to get a scholarship? How do I need to behave if I want my home to function in a calm, harmonious manner? Can I fight in front of my children? Me and my wife, me and my husband cursing each other out, throwing furniture at each other, frightening the children to death? Is that the way I need to behave? Or do I need to behave in another way to achieve the goal objective that I have in mind? So it's all, again, it has to do, what are my goals? What are the context in which I'm functioning? For example, let's say if you're a father, you have a daughter, and she's a teenager, and she brings a teenage boy home, and he has his pants hanging down halfway to his buttocks. What are you going to say? What are you going to think? See, in other words, it's like a form of behavior. He had to dress himself like that. When he put on his clothes, behavior, and he decided to have the pants down even below his buttocks. You see, in other words, it's like everything is about conduct relative to goal objectives. Your goal objective is to see that your daughter has somebody who is respecting themselves, who in turn will respect her, and should she be interacting with them, she would be safe. Because of how the person thinks about himself, or has been taught or trained to think about himself.
Correct.
See, that's all. In other words, again, what is the goal objective, or can I just do anything I want to do? Or do I have to conduct myself relative to what it is I'm attempting to achieve? See, I want black people to be able to function second to none on the planet. I want black people to be able to value themselves and value one another, relate to themselves, relate to one another, second to none, so that anybody on the entire planet, anybody in the solar system, looks at us and says, wow, these are the most dignified, highly self-respecting people in this entire galaxy. So everybody could do nothing but look at us and have the highest level of respect for us as black people.
Yes, ma'am.
See, second to none. Because the creator of the universe, whoever that is, made us the mothers and fathers of everybody. So why shouldn't we be having a standard of conduct, a standard of how we value ourselves that is second to none, because we're the parent people? Now, granted, we've been subjected to the horrific system of racism and white supremacy, but now we're decoding that. Now we're analyzing that, and we are thinking through. Now, what exactly is it we need to do with ourselves? Nobody is going to do it for us. It doesn't make sense to expect the people who are fearful of black genetic material to do it for us. So no, we are going to do it for ourselves out of our respect for the creative force in the universe. Somebody might call it God. Whoever made us. You see what it's like? You know, we're thinking through and deciding what is it that we are supposed to be doing with ourselves on this planet, in this universe, in this galaxy. You see, are we supposed to be trash? Conduct ourselves like we're trash? See, if trash comes out of our mouths, it means trash is in our brain. Now, is that who we're supposed to be? I say no. In other words, can't you just have it in your mind? Okay, I love you and respect you if you have them all over your body. I'll just say, well, why is that necessary?